Now we'll go to the phones now. And we've got Rachel in North Carolina. Are you there, Rachel?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, I'm glad to talk to you. I listen to you all the time. And at least since all this is happening, we can take some heart that we have a little bit of our mind left.
Yes.
I was going to ask you if you have watched that documentary called The Money Masters.
Yes, I think I have, yeah.
It's what's just so fascinating to me about it, and I've tried to get other people to watch it, but it's a big bore to them.
Yes.
It's just how even in the time of Caesar, this same thing was happening where these central banks would just take over and loan this money out.
Mm-hmm.
With they're setting the interest, they're setting the prices on everything,
yep.
And then they just flood the market with all this money, all this credit, and then when they decide to pull back and crash everything, they just decide to do it.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And then every single generation, even, like if you watch that movie Network, the same exact thing was happening.
Sure.
And people just, when I tell them, with this whole bailout thing that's happening, I tell them, the same thing was happening back in the 70s, the same thing. I mean, they just have no concept. And they think I'm the crazy one. Mm-hmm. When I say there is an alternative plan, we don't have to pay off the bankers. We can pay off the mortgages. Mm-hmm. Not that that's the best alternative, but it's way better than people out on the street starving.
Absolutely, and they won't be happy till they do get to people on the street starving, and then they'll point to them and say, look, there's just too many people for sustainability. You can see it for yourself. That's how it will be presented to the public. Yeah. And
it's like, basically I've told every single person at my work, which, the majority of them think, you're one of those, is what they say.
Yeah.
But then I pull them out of our office building on the days when there's chemtrails, just like literally in blocks, yes, all over the place. And I say, how can you explain this to me? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
And they tell me this is contrails or cloud seeding, whatever.
I know. Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just like, they deny it, and then it's like right there in your face.
Yes.
And they're pushing the whole flu vaccine thing at my work, free flu vaccines, and I'm just like, please take at least 15 minutes to look on YouTube or anywhere on the internet and just don't do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, at this point, it's like so overwhelming.
That's right. That
I don't even know what to do anymore.
Mm-hmm. And that's the key to it. You see, most people, you're seeing the effect of perfect indoctrination. That's what we're noticing all around us. There are those who are perfectly indoctrinated. In fact, they made lots of movies about zombie people and zombies and so on. That was literally their big joke on the general population. Yeah. And it's sure enough, you feel you're in the movie, and the zombies are becoming more and more, and there's fewer and fewer of you who are still truly human and sentient. And we've got to hold on through this. We've got to hold on and come through this, because we're the only ones with the information, the knowledge, and the memory who can put this across to future generations, and that's going to give them big problems. And they know it too. They know this, but it has to be done.
I just thought I could just make tons of these copies, but it's like some people that even they agree with me because I give them these documentaries and everything, and they listen to them. Like the very next day, they could like backslide, and they're like back to thinking, oh no, there's no conspiracy. And I'm just like, wow, I spent all that time.
You can't compete with the mainstream media when the people have become addicted to it. And that's what Brzezinski said in his book, Between Two Ages. He said that the people will be unable to reason for themselves, that they'll expect the media to do the reasoning for them. They've been brought up that way. They've never had to truly fathom anything in depth. They leave it to the experts. They're trained that way. We also find books like with Kessler, Ghost in the Machine, working with the United Nations, with think tanks to find ways to lobotomize that part of the brain, which was your individualism, which gave you the ability to think for yourself. I think it's pretty well happened with most people, I must admit. Mm-hmm. So I don't paint a pretty picture. However, because there are still of those out there who can understand this, who don't crumble and become psychotic under the knowledge that you gain, I think there's still a chance yet for some of us to come through, and it might be intergenerational. Remember, these groups have run this world intergenerationally, and it takes a long time to start moving them off their course.
Mm-hmm. And I think another thing is like you were saying, and this is something my husband said too, is they move so slowly, and then all of the people that do, kind of, they're waking up and stuff, they think this big thing is coming, this big...
Yeah, there's always a final day. Yeah.
But meanwhile, they're just moving so slow, we can't even see it because, they've already just passed these laws, they've already just created these organizations. They're just, they're just moving along so slow.
And that's why they gave us the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. They told us to play, have fun, while they were setting up the big groups that would run our lives in the future. You're right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
but you got to hang in there, and as I say, as long as some of us still know this, then our minds are still operating properly. We're still aware, and in that alone, there's hope, because all of us technically should be just as brainwashed as the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't been successful.
Yeah, there's some hope. I'm hoping.
Yes.
I mean, it's tough, though. I mean, it's few and far between, honestly. I mean, I could tell, 10 people and maybe one person listens, and at least I know when they come back to me with their own stuff that at least they've actually looked into it and they think, okay, there's something to this. But for them to really believe that this is an all-encompassing thing where, they've taken over the education, they've taken over, all these, non-governmental organizations that are working outside of the government. Like, it actually pains me when I see an Obama or a McCain sticker because I know that person's lost.
Yes.
Because they think there's some kind of hope.
That's right.
That this person's going to pull us out of something. And then it's like, they're just not getting it.
They never will, and most people will never get it, unfortunately. But thanks for calling, and hang in there. Back with more after this break.